All right, so chapter 3 of the leadership textbook is titled Traits, Situational, Functional, Skills, and Relational Leadership. So the first things first is understanding and explaining leadership, which is broken down into 7 parts. First one being traits approach. So traits approach is pretty much leaders had characteristics that predispose them to influential positions. It looked at height, weight, social skill, appearance, and popularity. Contemporary researchers identified these important traits. They label these traits into cognitive abilities, which is higher intelligence translates to effective leadership; locus of control, which internals believe rewards that they receive under the control and more likely to emerge as leaders; personality, which is known as the Big Five, which is emotional stability, sociability, creative and curious, agreeableness, and organized and dependable. Motivation is based off of power, achievement, and affiliation, high in power and motive, moderate to high in achievement, and low with affiliation to others. Social intelligence is broken down by ability to recognize feeling and behaviors of others in a social setting, knowing how to respond effectively. The next thing that was broken down was situational approach. Situational approach assumes leadership behavior is contingent on variations of the current situation. One of the things that was brought up in this was the path goal theory. The path goal theory is based on expectancy theory, which claims followers are more motivated to be productive when they think that they are completing a task that will provide a path to a valuable goal. Where directive leadership is procedure related, supportive leadership is interpersonal communication focused on needs of followers. The next one was participative leadership, which is communication to solicit opinions from followers. And finally, we have achievement-oriented leadership, communication focused on goal and attainment and accomplishment, followed by 2 situational variables, which are nature of followers and nature of the task. One thing that was brought up in addition to the situational approach was the Hershey and Blanchard situational leadership approach. This took place in the 1960s. Different situations call for different leadership styles. So readiness level of followers plays important roles into leadership behavior. Readiness consists of ability and willingness, and then they broke down readiness into 4 levels. The first level being low ability and low willingness. The second level being low ability and high willingness. The third level being high ability and low willingness, whereas the fourth level is high ability and high willingness. Next, we take on functional approach. Functional approach looks at communicative behavior of leaders, ability to communicate like a leader that determines leadership, and then this was broken down into 3 types of group roles. We have task-related roles, group building and maintenance roles, as well as individual roles. So the first thing is task-related goals. Task-related goals, the first step is the initiator. The initiator defines the problem and establishes procedures of how to complete the task. The information opinion seeker solicits ideas and asks questions on how to effectively complete a task. The information opinion giver presents and evaluates facts related to the task. And then the elaborator provides examples and backgrounds to clarify problems about the task. And then we have the orienter or the coordinator, which summarizes tasks and assigns responsibilities to group members. And finally, the last role is the energizer. The energizer stimulates and motivates groups towards achieving the task. Next, we have the group building and maintenance roles. There are 4 of these, the first one being the encourager, who supports and praises contributions of others. The next one is the harmonizer or the compromiser. Those mediate conflicts and reduces tension. Next, we have the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper encourages involvement of shy or uninvolved members. And then finally, we have the standard setter, which expresses group values and standards. The next thing we go into is the individual roles. The individual roles are broken down into 5 parts. The first one is the aggressor. The aggressor attacks ideas, opinions, and values of others. The blocker, they resist ideas and opinions of others. Finally, we have the recognition seeker. The recognition seeker kind of takes the idea and goes to make sure that it is well known. Next, we have the player. They have a non-caring attitude, making jokes at inappropriate times. Those really aren't what you want in the workplace. Finally, we have the dominator. The dominator lacks respect for others and frequently interrupts others, which cause the most issues. Next, we have the skills approach. The skills approach identifies the abilities leaders need to carry out their functions. Their effectiveness is the key criteria. The skills approach includes the three-skill model. The three-skill model was brought to life by Robert Katz at Harvard in 1955. It broke it down into three skills. The technical skill, which is understanding, becoming proficient in a particular activity. The human skill, which refers to working with people effectively. And then finally, the conceptual skill, which is more of like a big picture thinking encompassing the entire organization. And then we have the task-based competencies. So the first one is leading oneself. Leading oneself consists of self-awareness, ability to balance conflicting demands, ability to learn, and leadership values. The next competency is leading others, which is the ability to build and maintain relationships, the ability to build effective work groups, have strong communication skills, and ability to develop others. And finally, we have leading the organization, which includes management skills, ability to think and act strategically, ability to think creatively, and finally, ability to initiate and implement change. The next sub-tier of this is problem-solving capabilities, which pretty much includes just problem-solving skills, solution construction skills, and social judgment skills. So finally, we get down to the last of the seven, which is the relational approach. The relational approach shifts focus from characteristics of leaders and followers and leadership behaviors to relationships among leaders and followers. This has the model of the vertical dyad linkage model, otherwise known as the VDL model. This pretty much sums up that leaders treat individual followers differently, and followers offer different descriptions of the same leader. There's high levels of trust, mutual influence, and support characterized in group exchanges seen in democratic styles. In this model, there are low levels of trust and support characterized out of group exchanges seen in authoritarian styles. The next theory that is included in the relational approach is the leader-member exchange theory. The leader-member exchange theory focuses on the quality of the relationship between an individual leader and follower rather than in-group or out-of-group exchanges. Followers who high LMX relationships with their leaders are more productive, more satisfied, healthier, more satisfied and committed, more successful, more honest, highly motivated, and finally more influential. And that pretty much sums up Chapter 3 of the Leadership text.